You and Chris are going to be in here talking about God knows what.
Oh, if you only knew. If you only knew.
We have been delegated to the backyard.
To the back. That's not a bad thing, though, is it?
No, it's not. It's cool.
It will be in about a month. It'll be like hell out here.
Right,
hell with humidity.
Hell with a little bit of relief, and you're still getting the heat off the concrete even after the sun goes down.
But right now, feels freaking awesome in May back here.
Is it, man, me and Cindy were talking last night driving because it got cold. Like right at sundown, it hit like 63 or something, and it was, to her, especially now, she's cold. And so she's like, it's cold. And I'm like, well, yeah, I can see that because I'm cold. So,
so if I'm cold, it must really be cold. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is the Butch and Chris show.
Part 2.
Part 2. We're going to still be talking about the top tracks. We got on this little tangent here, and wait, let me fire up the music so you can hear it in the background. Ladies and gentlemen, the great Tom Petty. We got, on the last episode, we were talking about the top hits from May 2nd, 1981. And it's just chock full of good stuff. And I just, we got to talking about it and said, well, we're just going to keep talking about it on this episode.
We mentioned them, but we didn't really talk about them. But somebody else that tore up the 80s, man. They've only got one on this list for that week, but 38 Special.
38 Special. That Wild-Eyed Southern Boys.
That's when they really took off.
And that was a huge album.
Then they got on the soundtrack for Revenge of the Nerds, and that just propelled them.
Yeah, Nerds in Paradise.
Yeah, that propelled them even further. So they had a couple of songs that went movies that movies took on, but I can't. There was something else. It wasn't Revenge of the Nerds.
Well, that Wild-Eyed Southern Boys, that was a big, huge hit for them. And then the next year in '82, they had Chain Lightning.
So the year that they opened for Molly Hatchet,
that was '81. That was Wild-Eyed Southern Boys.
Wild-Eyed Southern Boys tour, and then the next year we watched Molly Hatchet open for them.
Well, which is one of the great stories I have from 1981. Ladies and gentlemen, we had a friend named Mike Feehan, and
we had a legend.
Legend of a friend named Mike Feehan. Feehan's still out there. Feehan, if you're listening to this, we love you, and we're about to tell on you.
I would love to see you, Feehan.
I would love.
Michael Feehan, I'd love to see you, boy.
I haven't seen him since '86. He actually came by to see Bradley.
I didn't get to see him then.
After he was born. Yeah, I was in Hot Springs at the time. Feehan. Feehan had the great idea before the 1981 show of 38 Special, and Molly Hatchet was the headliner.
I know.
Feehan decided that he was going to mix a little bit of all the liquors. Now think about this. All the liquors from his dad's liquor cabinet. So he wouldn't miss anything, and he was going to mix them all into one
man, it was awful.
Container. Because he was 14 years old, and he thought that was a great idea. And we go to this show, and Feehan's just sucking his heart. He's like, "You want some?" "No, I do not, actually."
Yeah, I'm good.
I'm good, thank you.
I was there when he was filling up the jar.
And so we're sitting there, and he's drank this whole thing before he goes in the show. And all of a sudden, we're having a great time watching the show, and all of a sudden, Mike Feehan is throwing up everything he's had since 1978.
A true story.
True story. And the poor people that
were... Mike Johnson's mom drove us to that concert and picked us up.
Yes.
In that Mustang.
We went with Lurch.
In that Mustang, and Feehan was curled up in the fetal position back
in the back seat. Yep.
In the damn... You remember it had a glass trunk.
By the way, this is Dirty Deeds Done Dirt Cheap, not Dirty Deeds Done with Sheep. There's no reason to bring anything from anybody.
My brain just went about 6 different directions with 6 different comebacks for those, and literally conscience took over. It was like, nope,
you're not going to do that, are you?
Nope, can't do it. Can't say any of those.
You can't say that. You can't say that, ladies and gentlemen.
We try to be professional here.
We are professional, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Butch and Chris show, by the way. Do you know you can go to butchandchris.com and you could choose to become a producer and actually finance this stuff? But we do actually love the people who do this.
Yeah, it helps us to keep going on this stuff, too. If y'all enjoy our content, please leave a like and subscribe.
Rach. Big Daddy Rach is a supporter.
He is.
We actually have Big Daddy Rach stories that we may actually break out sometime.
Just remember, if you can't be an athlete,
be an athletic
supporter.
Other wonderful people who throw in $3 a month to support this kind of chicanery. Terry Schatz.
Kate S.
Roger McDougal.
Melinda
Hignate, if you're fancy. Good old Dusty Breeze.
I want you to know something. You notice I never say a word when you say that. You just remember that, Dusty. Next time you see anybody, true. I got your back.
Chris B. Listen, let's just stop for a minute on Chris B there.
Okay.
Chris B is from Philly. And Chris B supports
Pennsylvania?
Like Pennsylvania.
Hell yes.
And thank you, Chris B.
Coast to coast, baby.
That's right. Chris B supports us. And I just wanted to thank you, Chris B, because Chris B was one of the first ones to jump in and say, hey, I'm going to give you some money. And so
thank you very much. Thank you.
Nancy Schwartz. Yeah. Big Josh Ramsey.
I love it. Fran
Adams.
EM.
And Donna's husband. And then, of course, our first annual producer, ladies and gentlemen, Tanya Highland.
Number 1 in our hearts.
She was the first one to say, you know what, I'm going to support bad decisions. I'm going to support your bad decisions.
Well, in our defense, Tanya.
Wait, Chris.
We have hung out for a long time, so.
Ladies and gentlemen.
You might have been in on some of that chicanery.
With eternal love to Linda and Steven. Thank you to all of our fantastic supporters. Find out how you can support this hair podcast by heading on over to butchandchris.com. Do you hear the music playing in the background, Chris?
I'm sorry, I wasn't listening to you.
Do you hear the music
in the background?
Do you hear that? That's what I asked you. Were you listening to the music in the background? So tell me about what we mentioned on the last podcast a little bit, but we're still talking about the top tracks from.
Are you talking about the trip to Tulsa?
I'm talking about the trip to Tulsa.
Man,
wasn't that fun?
And I'm going to tell you something.
That was 10 years ago, dude.
Absolutely.
10 years ago.
Absolutely. One of my fondest concert memories.
It was great.
Incredible. I had never gotten to see him. And
you never saw Rush before that?
Nope.
See, I saw him in 82 before
I didn't get to see him.
That's too bad.
I was probably grounded.
You were probably grounded. I can't imagine why Jay would ever ground you, sir. It
was probably not Jay.
You were such a paragon of virtue.
Yeah,
I cannot imagine why you would ever.
I got to see him then, and it was me and you who drove to school a lot listening to 2112
on 8-track,
and the Twins.
Yep.
And your brother met us there. And it was phenomenal.
It was a great show.
It was a
great show. It was a good time. It was a great show.
It's their 40th anniversary. You can find, I know there's videos out there.
Yeah, there's videos on YouTube.
It's really cool how they did their stage.
Yeah, that was really cool how they did the show. Because they started with their most recent hit, and then they started going backwards.
And every time they moved to a new album, the stage would change.
And they had the most hilarious bits. pre-recorded in the middle too.
Yeah.
They had some funny stuff in there. We didn't know it was going to be the last time we got to see him.
No, man. And I'm glad I got to see him play, dude. I watched him for 3 hours.
Wasn't he amazing?
They had no opening act.
They had no opening act. It was an evening with Rush.
3
it was their
hours
40th anniversary.
Of Rush, and it was freaking
It was
incredible.
freaking amazing. And it was we went to Tulsa, Oklahoma to see that show.
At the BOK Center.
At the BOK.
And I will see a concert there anytime.
That's a good venue.
We saw Iron Maiden there,
We saw Iron Maiden there, too.
Yep.
Another great band that we saw.
That's the last concert I saw with the Beeve.
Yeah. Yep. That's true.
Oh, man.
But, yeah, that was but the BOK Center, getting to see Rush do their, basically, it was a countdown of their greatest hits.
Yeah. It was
literally a countdown.
It's probably top 2.
Yeah. It was a great show.
Concerts of all time.
We had the best time there, too.
And I have seen a lot of bands. Butch has seen a lot of bands. But I think 1995 Eagles Hell Freezes Over tour in Texas Stadium is probably my number one.
Really? And then,
oh, my God, man.
I'm sure it was.
It was 85,000 people.
Man, I'm sure that was amazing.
Joe Walsh, in the middle of Life's Been Good to Me, stops. The whole band stops. And 85,000 people is singing that song. It was cool.
That's cool.
That's a pinnacle. That is a pinnacle for me.
That's a pinnacle moment. You speak
and
of
I gave up Pink Floyd for my wife because she stated that if they ever got back together, she wanted to go. And I was literally coming home on a Friday night because I worked in North Little Rock, and I was coming home to buy Pink Floyd Division Bell Tour. I'm seeing Pink Floyd in Dallas in April, and they announced the Eagles were getting back together, and they were playing Dallas July 3rd, and I went,
I guess we're going to see the Eagles.
Yeah.
Oh, did you unplug yourself?
I did.
Ladies and gentlemen, Chris has unplugged his headphones.
A little Harry Carey action.
He got a little excited talking about the Eagles.
If you unplugged yourself, would you plug yourself back in? I know I would.
I know I would. Absolutely.
Dude, that's one of the funniest Saturday Night Live bits ever.
The best Will Ferrell bits playing Harry Carey. Hey, if you were a hot dog, would you eat yourself? I know I would.
I'd slather myself with mustard and eat myself all day long.
Oh, my gosh. Folks, if you're willing to...
Welcome to the Butch and Chris Show.
Welcome to the Butch and Chris Show.
This is pretty much it.
This is it right here. This is like what we would be doing anyway. We just put a microphone in front of our faces. Yeah. Can you tell we've known each other since the 70s?
Yes, very much so. So another dude that's on this top tracks.
Right.
I'm trying to get back on topic. Santana winning. Santana to me, man, was always back then for me background. I mean, I knew who he was. I could recognize him if I'd hear it. That's Santana. I know like Black Magic Woman. Yeah, and those songs. That guy, man, in the late 80s, early 90s, or late 90s, took back off again.
He took back off again. He he's
an incredible guitar player.
He had a hit with Rob Thomas from Matchbox 20.
Yes, that's who I was trying to think of. Yes.
And Chad Kroeger from a Nickelback. He actually had a hit with. Santana, he's been in the game for a long, long time.
He's a really, really good guitar player.
Yeah, and he had the song winning.
Something about the vibe of the music just doesn't totally resonate with me.
Right.
But I like his music for the most part. But it's not something that I go out of my way to get, if that makes any sense.
It does. By the way, I'm going to crank this up a little bit.
Yes.
Okay. So.
You and my brother.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is a band called April Wine from Canada.
You and my brother.
And this is one of the greatest rock songs I think ever released.
Big words.
Just Between You and Me by April Wine.
Them's big words, boy.
Big words. It's a great song. It
really is, man. I like this. I like this tune. You and Monty know a lot about April Wine.
Yeah.
I don't. I mean, it's just the way it is.
You know why? Because me and Monty read Hit Parader a lot.
Yeah.
And,
do you remember Monty's bedroom at the old house?
Wait, what?
At the old house, dude.
You
come
mean
on. You at my house all the freaking time. So. Do you remember all the posters he had in his room?
Yeah, all the posters, yeah. He had the April Wine. He had this, I think, that poster right there.
I can't remember that, but he had those out of cream, like the life-size David Lee Roth or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
The centerfold out of David Lee Roth and somebody else on there. Then he had that famous poster from the late 70s, early 80s of the Last Act of Defiance, the mouse giving the eagle the bird.
Yes.
It was black lights.
That was...
It was a black light poster.
Yes.
Yeah.
I remember those, yes. Monty did a podcast with us back on the previous podcast that we did.
He did. Sometime he'll come back to town, man.
We need to have him back in one day because I'm sure Monty would have a lot to say about this list as well.
Oh yeah, yeah. He's a lot like you when it comes to knowing who all's in the band and who's doing what and that. And that's not me.
You know, that's me though.
I know.
I get into the minutia.
If I need to know, I ask Butch or I ask Monty. If I need to know, if I don't need to know, I'm good.
If you don't need to know it, you don't need it.
I don't need it.
You don't need it. But instead of going through the list here this time, like we kind of did on the last episode, I just want to talk about music in general and the fact that from if you say from like 1978 through say 83.
Say 78 to 83.
Yeah.
Okay.
The amount of good music
There's freaking
that
incredible.
Was released during that time.
I would say give it a 10-year trek and take the middle road. I'm sorry, I'm sitting way back from the microphone. Take the middle track, 74 to 84.
I think that's a good one. Yeah.
I'll be honest with you, 74 to 84.
I think it's the best music ever made.
Yeah.
I think maybe as a whole, I mean, obviously you're going to be able to pick songs out like from the Beatles era and the early 70s.
Here's the really cool thing about music to me. We're strictly talking about rock. I mean, but
let's talk about Stevie Wonder.
Hang on just a second. We've got top 40 during this time.
Oh, it was fantastic.
The country music that came out of this era was incredible.
It was.
Music in general, USA was rolling. I mean, they were. I mean, we were. It wasn't like it is today. Crazy. Mm-hmm. Everything's out of sight. Money-wise, it's just insane.
Yeah.
You didn't. There was no streaming. You watched it when it came on, or you didn't get to see it.
You didn't get to see it.
I mean,
we were still a couple of years from VHS,
Yeah. Great music. Just great music.
It was great music during that time. And radio was huge at that time.
Yes.
I was
very much so.
I would say I was blessed to be able to be in radio back in the 80s.
You were.
And
it was cool to be
a lot of fun.
For me, as being just one of your best friends, I got to see stuff that a lot of people don't get to see.
Yeah.
Not everything, but I got to see a lot of stuff.
Dude, there's so many just from Hot Springs, there are so many stories I could tell you about that
Hot
time
Springs was crazy.
Being in radio at that time and how huge radio was and how receptive that small market was to having a top 40/rock radio station come in there. And
I actually go back to the KCON days.
Yeah. That's funny.
I came into KCON when you were working there.
Here's the funny thing. Okay, so my first job, just to give you guys some background for what he's talking about. Here locally in my hometown of Conway, Arkansas, we had a small AM radio station called KCON. And at the time, they were playing music for 40 to 50-year-olds, which I thought was really old music. And I just didn't get, but I worked there because it beat flipping burgers.
It was 30 years old.
And the thing is that these are people that were probably 10 years younger than what we are right now that were listening to this music at that time. And so it was wild. It was,
But you think about it, man. At that time, we were kids.
We were 15, 16 years old. Yeah.
So...
you were 15, I was 16, because I was 16 when I started there.
Yep.
And, I didn't have an appreciation for that music. And now it's like, because I worked there, you know what? I can listen to Dean Martin. I can listen to Frank Sinatra.
Oh, man. I'm telling you right now, you can pull Dean Martin out anytime, and, I'm in.
Dude, that might have been one of the coolest individuals
I think
that ever stalked the face of this earth.
I think so. I do. And
you remember those roasts that he did? They were hilarious. I used to watch them with my dad.
I've been watching them on YouTube.
They're great. They're great.
They are good. But I was going to say, man, he did a movie with John Wayne, Rio Bravo. Yep. Rio Bravo, and it's him and Ricky Nelson.
Yep.
And John Wayne. Mm-hmm. And I love John Wayne movies anyway. And I mean, that was the early 60s movie.
Yeah, 63, 64, I think.
Because it was after, it was either right before or right after McClintock. McClintock was definitely 62.
Yeah.
So anyway, it's that era of John Wayne, not the later movies like True Grit and Rooster Cogburn and those. Just fantastic.
All right, guys, ladies and gentlemen. '38 special. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but 38 special came in concert to Little Rock, Arkansas every 6 dang months. And was I there for most of them?
Like
yes.
10 times. Man.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, but I was going to say, man, you got Ricky Nelson and Dean Martin, and they have a little duet action in that movie.
Yeah.
That is incredible. If you've never seen the movie, just watch it just for that one scene. Find that one scene on YouTube. I promise you it's on there.
Yeah.
It's good. Dean Martin's voice had a fantastic voice.
Dean Martin was great, but it's like it's like what my dad used to listen to. Okay, so my dad used to force me to listen to Bob Wills and the Texas Playboys. You know what? I've gone back as an adult now and listened to some of that and go, you know what?
He still don't like it. Don't let him.
No, I do actually. Some of that I was like, but the band.
Some of it's traumatizing.
But it's the Texas swing. But they influenced bands like Asleep at the Wheel, and it's like some really cool stuff.
Yeah, man, it is.
And even Zac Brown band they influenced. On some things.
That's funny you say that. I'm giving Butch hell. That's all I'm doing while I'm laughing. But he's right. Music's so subjective. And we talked about this earlier. Like whatever you want, baby. It's
like
okay.
what you want. It's okay. Unless it's like really crappy stuff. But I
mean, if you like really crappy stuff,
that's okay.
It's your bag, baby. Go for it.
But God bless you.
But I'm not going to listen to it with you.
I'm not going to listen to it with you.
You enjoy.
You
do you.
Ladies and gentlemen, I think we hear the train coming through town here. So,
man.
because ladies and gentlemen, I don't think I've said this on this particular podcast. On the last one we did.
We're
recording outside in the backyard.
Oh,
yeah. So if you hear strange sounds, it's a train, it's a dog barking from next door.
Call for help. Please.
Yeah. Call the police. But,
man, dude, we've talked about this before, but there was a cartoon in the 90s, Ren and Stimpy. Do you remember that?
Okay, so here's the thing. I used to record those and come to your house so we could play those. We used to watch those together in the early.
So inappropriate for kids.
So inappropriate for kids, but they were so funny. Yeah, the old Ren and Stimpy I remember I used to come to your house and watch those, but there was one where they were wrestling.
I don't know about that. All I can remember is the horse. Man, the horse just cracked me up.
No, sir, I don't like it. Yeah, that.
Rubber nipples, huh? You don't have any rubber walrus covers, do you?
Yeah, just things that were totally inappropriate for kids, but they made it into that show.
Oh, my gosh.
I guess I was in my early mid-20s when that came out, and I used to watch it every week.
So, of course, I work in pediatrics, right? So I see a lot of kids' television.
Yeah.
Especially if we're on the back hall, because I work in a residential facility. So, but the coolest cartoon that has come out to me in the last 20 years that I can watch them. I'll watch one because it reminds me of my childhood, how cartoons should have been. But Phineas and Ferb.
Phineas and Ferb, which, by the way,
it is hilarious, dude.
Bowling for Soup, which we're going to see in November, does the theme song.
Yeah, they do the theme song for it. That's
104 days of summer vacation, you know. And
the platypus is a deadgum secret agent.
Yeah,
it's hilarious.
Perry the platypus.
That's their pet. Their family pet.
And Doofenshmirtz is the evil bad
doctor.
Guy. Yeah, the evil doctor.
Every show is Doofenshmirtz is doing something. Perry's trying to stop him, and the boys are building something.
Yeah. So let's talk about this show. Chris and I are going to see a band called Bowling for Soup, and they've had a kind of special place in my heart. I'm just going to be honest with you. They had a song called 1985, which is what most people know. But I'm just going to tell you what the reason that I will continue to support Jarrett Reddick and those guys is when I took Brad to see them, they were so cool to him and Ryan.
Yeah.
They were so cool to him and Ryan. They took the time to actually, and for them, okay, you have my unlimited support.
Absolutely.
From here on. And Chris and I are going to see them in November.
I'm on a mailing list for the hall and
for the hall
to see if somebody's coming, if somebody's been announced. It pops up on my email, and I looked on there and they announced that they were playing, and pre-sale was on. So I just texted
Can you get the mezzanine?
I just texted
so
Butch
we can sit down.
Bowling for Soup's coming in November, and he's like, do you want to go? And I'm like, hell yeah, I want to go. Get the mezzanine.
Okay, so for folks that listen to us, I know that are about our age that listen to us sometimes, I'm going to go ahead and give you not only listen to check out Bowling for Soup, but check out the two opening bands I have seen, the Dolly Rots, which are a married couple who have been successful in the music scene for a while, and a band called Don't Panic. And I'm actually on first name basis with the lead singer, a guy named Ted Filicetti, and they're from Pennsylvania, and they are a great band. So check them out if you can. Support them on Spotify.
Who is this?
Don't Panic.
Don't Panic.
Don't Panic and the Dolly Rots are opening for Bowling for Soup, and so if you get a chance to check them out on Spotify, do that.
Cool.
Don't Panic, great little band out of Pennsylvania. So, give them a listen. See there, that's me helping
Giving
out.
back.
Giving
We're
back.
just giving back. That's what we do here.
Well, we're givers. That's all I like to say. If you're still listening at this point, God bless you, because,
Oh, my God.
Chris and I are just in the backyard listening to music and talking. And so if you're still listening at this point, we absolutely love you. Yeah, I'm not editing that out, by the way.
Why would you not, dude?
I know I'm not. Because it takes effort, Chris, and I just don't really, I just like to upload it and say, we're done.
I do that enough at work. I'm not doing it at home, too.
Is there any cussing on this? No, he said shoot. I'm pretty sure he said shoot.
Well...
but going back through this list of 81, and the only thing I'll tell you on that, Chris, is that we talked about between like 74 and 84, the amount of good music that was put out that's still played today that will maybe played after we're gone.
Oh, but in that time period, name some of your favorite albums.
Okay, from that time period.
And I'm going to say, if I say yes, I've got it.
Back in Black.
Yes.
Moving Pictures.
Yes.
Anything by Van Halen on the first 4 albums. Styx, Pieces of 8.
Yes.
Styx Paradise Theater.
Yes.
You know,
I mean, it's going to be just about
anything before Kilroy was here.
Yeah.
You know,
there you go, man.
Anything.
See, you find somebody else finally on the bandwagon.
Finally on the bandwagon.
That was their Yoko
Ono. Yeah. Exactly. REO Speedwagon. If you can't tune if you can tune the piano but you can't tune a fish. We talked about that on the last episode. Yeah. But they also had like High Infidelity.
So you get for me, I get Fly By Night, I think is 74, and I get both Boston albums.
Both Boston albums. Okay, so let's talk about Boston for a little bit.
Kiss.
Yes.
All of the early Kiss. And you remember how
you were a Kiss
really
fanatic.
liked Kiss. I still like Kiss.
Yeah, well,
me and my buddy Keller Johnson.
How do you not like Kiss? How do you not like Kiss? What was it? What was it? The greatest music ever made? No. But it was Kiss. And if you don't get that, then you don't get Kiss.
Local legend Mike Sanders.
Local
legend.
Is he not a local legend?
So, do you remember going in his bedroom at his parents' house?
Yes.
This dude, he collected albums. He was a album connoisseur. And he was the first one that I ever saw all 4 of the individual Kiss albums.
Bow to your sensei!
Yeah. You remember that?
Yes.
He got all 4 of them, man. I was just in awe because he had all 4 of the individual albums. Who could afford that?
Not me. Not me. I didn't have that kind of allowance.
Oh, my gosh. But what an album collection. Incredible.
Yep.
I love people like that. Jimmy Fedoli was like that.
Jimmy Fedoli. Okay, so we met for Jimmy Fedoli in college.
In college.
And here's the thing about Jimmy Fedoli. He collected 45s.
Yes.
Which, not albums, he collected 45s, which is amazing because you could say, okay, what about this song? And he would go over and flip, and he would pull out the 45,
it
not
was
the
so
album.
much fun, man. It was like a human jukebox.
Yeah. He was.
Wait a minute.
He was the human jukebox.
No, man, he was a human Spotify.
Yes, he was. Because you could say, okay, what about this? And he'd go, flip. Yeah, I've got that 45 right
Jimmy
here.
Jimmy Fedoli, if you're listening to this, I have just named you the human Spotify.
Jimmy Fedoli, the human Spotify.
Let's do a damn video. Let's do a video, Butch.
Okay, so right now,
where's his hat? He's got a hat. I want a hat.
I want a hat. So what's playing right now was the number 1 song on rock radio.
Oh, yeah.
The second week of May, 1981. Yeah, that's right. This is me doing a Casey Kasem impersonation.
Wasn't he also Robin on the Super Friends?
He was Robin. Holy spot, man. The Joker's getting away again. Yeah. I just took you back, didn't I?
Welcome to our childhood.
Yeah.
And we talked about that too before, man. They're jumping the shark. When they brought the Wonder Twins on, it was over for me.
Well, the thing is the Wonder Twins had so much potential to be able to be cool. But the thing is one of them could turn into any animal they wanted to. And one of them could turn into any form of water that they wanted to. Okay.
I mean, are we really explaining this right now?
Yes. Oh. So I'm explaining Super Friends, Wonder Twins
our
era.
Our audience, every one of them SOBs knows what we're talking about.
They do. But here's where they screwed it up. What I'm talking about is how they screwed it up. Is that they'd always go, okay, turn me into a pail of water and I'll turn into a falcon. No, you turn into a T-Rex and a tsunami every episode and you got it whooped. Thank you very much. Butch has it solved.
See, they jumped the shark because we weren't interested. If you didn't do that, we didn't care.
Yeah. See?
That's how Gen X rolls.
That's how Gen X rolls.
Problem solved.
Okay, so let me ask you a question here. because I've seen this coming up on social media quite a bit, is it seems like some of the other generations are afraid of us.
Why?
Because we're Gen X, and apparently we don't care about your feelings. And and I'm going to tell you what, that's absolutely true. We do not.
Yeah, I don't.
That's
you. You do you, boo. That's where I'm at. Do you. Just leave me alone.
I have to pretend like I care about your feelings at work because, I have a job, and I'm working in today's climate. So I have to pretend like I care about how you feel about stuff, but I probably don't.
Oh, man. It's not. I got my own problems.
Exactly.
I don't need yours too.
He's like,
I'm good. Really.
It's like, well, this hurts my feelings because I'm sorry. Do you not realize that Gen X, we used to hurt each other's feelings on purpose because it was a game to us?
I swear, people, if y'all could see one page of text messages between me, Butch, the twins, and Joe Powers.
Oh, man. That's not a good idea to ever make that
y'all
public.
Would be in the corner sucking your thumb.
Yeah,
why did I make them mad?
Why did I make them mad? Because we call it. Well, by the way, I've got the perfect thing I'm going to send y'all next time.
Oh, man.
I'm not going to tell you what it is, but I'm just going to let you know. You're going to laugh your butt off when you see it. Because the next time you put something up there, I'm putting it up. So, but like, I'm so scared.
Oh my gosh! You gotta have thick skin, baby, or just don't hang out.
You gotta exactly. Which reminds me, I'm just gonna let you guys know that Chris and I are going to be involved in a barbecue that I'm hosting here later this month. Chris will show up after.
A cat and nine tails again?
Because it makes the meat taste better. Chris is coming over after he gets through throwing a disc golf around.
I don't know if I'm going to get to do that or not.
What's that?
Well, it's been discussed, but we're going to rediscuss. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which kind of came out of left field on me. I'm like, wait, what?
Wait, huh? Okay, well, we'll talk about this off microphone.
Yeah. No, it's cool, man, but I don't know if I'm going to do that or not, so it's up in there.
Okay.
I don't know if I'm going to get to play in the tournament.
Are you coming here, though?
Absolutely.
Hell yeah.
I was committed to this before this tournament.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
All I'm saying is on May 24th, and this may air by then, it may not.
Before I had clearance for this tournament.
Or if you had clearance. I'm making brisket, though.
I know. I'm
barbecuing brisket. And I'm
here.
thinking about, and I just want to throw this out here because I want to see your reaction. You've seen me do burn-ins before. Mm-hmm. Okay. What about bratwurst burn-ins?
I'm in, dude.
Are you in on that?
Yeah, absolutely. Why would you not be in on that?
I see there.
Does it really sound bad?
It doesn't.
No. No, absolutely not. Have you ever had a bratwurst? Have you ever had one that's a little crispy?
Yeah. See what I'm talking about there?
I'm thinking.
And instead of barbecue sauce, I'm talking about like a mustard honey.
So I want to tell. I'm going to tell off on myself. I'm going to tell a story.
Tell me a story.
So, people that don't know, my wife is named Cindy, and her parents. I mean, my wife is literally full-blooded Polish.
Yes.
Her mom was like an Emakowski and married a Nat Borowski, and I mean, she is as Polish can get. And they had when we first started dating, her parents had a pool, and her dad traveled a lot. Well, they were from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, mm-hmm. and he would go up to Wisconsin to visit family on a job,
right?
And he would get the local meats and bring them home on the plane.
Bratwurst.
That is the first time I'd ever had bratwurst. And her mom is over there boiling them beside the pool.
Yes.
With beer and onions.
Yes, as one does.
Dude, I ate 7 bratwurst the first time I had a bratwurst.
Right?
I mean, I cannot stop eating these. They were so good.
I'm Southern. I love being Southern. I think overall we have the best food, but I'm going to tell you right now.
And now,
bratwurst.
Let me preach. They were offered every time. I didn't just take 7 bratwurst and eat them. her mom, if you weren't eating, you weren't happy. That's just the way she was, and
I can see that.
So, God bless her. I miss her too. She's awesome.
But yeah, overall, I think Southern food is fantastic. I think one of the things that our Northern brothers and sisters have given to us is bratwurst.
Oh man, bratwurst!
Because bratwurst is insanely good.
Incredible. Bratwurst and pastrami.
Pastrami, yes.
I love pastrami. I love corned beef too.
I do too.
That's
it's
one
the
of my
same.
favorites.
It's the same. It's still brisket, but it's just
so everywhere I go, if they have a Reuben on the menu,
I always do a Reuben.
If they do a good Reuben, I'll be back.
Yep.
I'll be back. If it's not a good Reuben,
the rest of their
stuff's probably not good either. Just saying.
So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to play this a little bit here. This.
Ladies and gentlemen, from 1981, it's Frankie and the Knockouts. This is Butch doing his best Casey Kasem impersonation.
I don't remember this song.
This is one of those lost classics, dude. I love this song. I think it's a great pop song. It was played all over in pop radio back then. I know, dude.
Dude, you know who my older brother is? You think I was listening to pop radio?
Dude, I listen to all of that. I listen to all of that.
Do you know who my brother is?
I know.
Do you know who was driving?
Do
you think I listened to
I know
any
what
pop
you were listening
radio?
to. You were listening to either Ted Nugent or Van
Black
Halen
Sabbath.
or Styx or Black Sabbath at the time when Monty was driving in the Toyota
Rush.
Highlander.
That was one of my. In fact, I probably turned you on to Rush too.
You did. 2112 driving in the Ford Granada on the 8-track, and it would
incredible.
Yeah, it was great. Ladies and gentlemen,
yeah, that was an instant classic.
Ladies and gentlemen, Ozzy Osbourne. And we'd never heard anything quite like Randy Rhoads. We'd heard Eddie Van Halen, but we'd never heard Randy Rhoads before either.
Yeah, we had, but we didn't know we had.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe when I found out he was a founding member of Quiet Riot.
Yeah, he was.
And it was always him pitted against Eddie in Los Angeles at the time.
Yeah.
Van Halen gets signed, Quiet Riot doesn't get signed. And then he got offered to go play for Ozzy because Ozzy.
Yep.
I've said it before and I'll say it again. How bad do you have to be to get kicked out of Black Sabbath? Anyway.
Well, let me tell you what. Okay,
you're out, Brian.
Ladies and gentlemen, Butch is about to go on his music tangent because he knows things. And there are two great heroes that you will never understand who one of them is.
Dun, dun,
that
Captain
help
Chaos.
That help shape heavy metal from that point forward. Okay, one is a guy named Martin Birch. Martin Birch produced Heaven and Hell and the Mob Rules albums for Black Sabbath.
Yep. Okay.
He helped shape that heavy metal sound then. He was the producer that gave him a harder edge.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, he is like shaping stuff with his hands.
I'm shaping stuff. Yes, I'm shaping things. He
is really into this.
I am into this. And the other one is Sharon Osbourne for not letting Ozzy Osbourne die.
Oh, no doubt.
And for helping to put together
I would tell you,
the Blizzard of Oz and for shaping heavy metal at that time.
Duck Dynasty, the TV show.
Yeah.
I absolutely love that show.
I
love watching it, and it's all staged. It's almost it's staged.
But you love those people.
Fun. Yeah, they're great people.
Yeah.
But I don't know how much of the Osbournes was staged.
I think they just put a camera on.
I don't know how much of that was actually
staged. Ozzy? Could you stage Ozzy? You can't.
No, you can't stage him.
But Ozzy was a unique individual.
I'm not picking up any more dog poop. I'm a rock star for Christ's sake.
No, I'm not doing that. He said, Ozzy's whole idea is Ozzy. Sharon! Sharon! But
my Lord.
That was,
it was,
but yeah.
I actually watched some reality TV with my wife. That was pretty entertaining.
Duck Dynasty and the Osbournes, ladies and gentlemen.
That's pretty much it for me. You get into any of that other real life stuff, I'm out. Who's barking?
It's not me. I think it's the dogs around the neighborhood. Now, in any minute, you could see Bentley come to the glass door over there. wanted to come out and bark back at them.
I don't think so.
I don't think so. Not in my house. But, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for.
Did we finish this list?
We've basically gone through everything.
How much time we got? How far are we into this one?
We are 45 minutes into this.
So we have 2 45-minute episodes.
We have 2 45-minute episodes.
Back to back. And y'all are hearing the back end of this, and I'm sorry.
Hey guys,
but that's just the way that we talk about stuff.
We are so glad to be back with you guys. It's been just a load of fun. I'm going to go ahead and... I don't know which one controls that.
I gotta cut Chris off.
It's cutting me off too.
And I'd like to thank.
You done. Ladies and gentlemen, we love you. Thanks for listening. ButchandChris.com.
Putting up with me.
Bentley, the show producer. And Tanya.
Dude, that was fun. I'm sorry.
I'm telling you, man, that's great.
I hope it was good.
Dude, that's 2 good episodes.
I hope so.
That's 2 good episodes. And that's just not me being drunk right now either. That's 2 good episodes.
I'm a little fucked up, but it's going to be okay.
I'm just going to have to step over there and take a piss.
Well, I'm not coming with you.
Wait.
No, I'm not coming with you. I don't give a shit about your cat o' nine tail.
Wait.
Oh, me.
I'll stop right here. Why there's no grass?
Hey, you do what you need to do, man. I'm good.
Oh, man.
Oh, shit. Damn, dude, you all right? Are you sure you're all right? Oh, Lord. Oh.
Dude, I had to take a thunder piss.
Dude, I'm telling you, I've been there. Sometimes I go in the damn bathroom, I'm like, Jesus Christ, I was actually holding all this and wasn't in pain.
Well, hang on, I didn't stop this yet.